Labour must deliver or risk populist rise from according to ministers. We're going to read into this piece more from the BBC, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the BBC with a headline that Labour must deliver or risk populist rise, ministers say. 3 members of the new cabinet have told the BBC that if Labour does not keep its promises, voters will back populists instead. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. This is the reality of what's going to happen if the Labour government does not just say that they're going to do things, that actually show them. Now, again, like I've said, there is still only been a few weeks in since this new Labour government is. They have made some changes and made some tinkering here and there, but the real change will be over the next few years. When we actually see it, do we feel it in our wallets? Do we feel it on our streets? Do we see it around us? And these are the questions that you will be needing to ask yourself. Take your political hats off and just literally ask yourself, do you feel better off? Those are the questions. Are the councils doing enough in your local area? And then do you think that the government and some of its proposals and ideas have made a difference to your lives, that have made your lives better? These are the questions that you will need to be asking yourself. Not now, but over time. And that's what really matters. Actions, not words, is what the Prime Minister Keir Starmer had said. And those are the things that really, really matter. People want to feel change. They don't want to hear it. They want to feel it. And this Labour government knows that. They know that many people gave them their vote with one or two reasons. With the intention of getting rid of the Conservatives. The other was the intent of let's see what you guys can actually do. We will give you our vote, but you must promise to deliver. And if they don't keep that, they're not going to get that vote again. And they will take that vote elsewhere. And they will take it to somewhere where the likes of Reform, who will make false promises and not deliver on them. Oh, and if you think that Reform are going to deliver on their promises, like I said when the general election was over, let's see those constituencies that are now under Reform. Let's see those towns and those areas better off. Let's see where Clacton is in a couple of years' time. If the people of Clacton are better off, then they've shown that they have been better off. But if people aren't seeing it, why would you vote for a party that's blatantly lying to you? So let's read what they've had to say, you guys. So 3 members of the new cabinet have told the BBC that if Labour does not keep its promises, voters will back populists instead. Chancellor Rachel Reeves suggested it would be an institutional failure if they could not get things done. In an interview for a Panorama special, the Chancellor's Foreign Secretary and Health Secretary all warned separately that the public have lost faith in mainstream politics, and if they fail, voters will turn towards the far left or far right. Ms Reeves said that if Labour doesn't stick to its word, it will be seen as a sort of an institutional failing the mainstream politics doesn't deliver. Yeah, so those on the extreme left or left side will turn more to the likes of independents, of Green parties. Some may switch to Liberal Democrats instead of Labour. And obviously those on the right who still don't trust the Conservatives, some of them will go back to Conservatives, but some will go to Reform UK as well. Ms Reeves says that if Labour doesn't stick to its word, it will be seen as a sort of an institutional failing that mainstream politics doesn't deliver, and there'll be a shift to the populists on the left and the right. She added that Labour had to combat a view that among some voters that politicians are all liars. Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary who came within 500 votes of losing his seat to a pro-Palestinian campaigner, what a shame, said that unless we deliver, people will lose hope and they will turn to the siren voices of populism. So I feel a heavy weight on our shoulders. The new Foreign Secretary David Lammy said members of the cabinet had to preserve their connections to working class communities and constituencies that they represent. We've got to retain that and be really connected to working people, he said. If we don't, as we're seeing in other parts of the world, in democracies, the populists, whether from the far right or far left, will offer a different vision. Panorama has been behind the scenes with Ms Reeves, Mr Lammy and Mr Streeting in their first fortnight in government, with access to some of their first meetings with officials in Whitehall and ministerial visits. The tale of how they felt when the exit poll, which pointed to a massive Labour victory, was released, or it was like to take their seats around the Cabinet Office table for the first time. Ms Lammy, who was part of Sir Keir Starmer's leadership campaign back in 2020, said he never worried about Labour leader's ability as a potential Prime Minister. Rather, he was concerned about whether he could turn around the Labour Party after a shattering defeat in 2019, believing it would take 10 years, not 5. Now, the Foreign Secretary has previously been very critical of Donald Trump, said he would embrace the constraint after being an office holder where he could no longer speak freely like a backbencher. The programme also catches the Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner joking with a group of builders that Ms Reeves is the moneybags and that she is tight-fisted. Reeves responded I'm a Yorkshire MP. We have a reputation in Yorkshire of being good with money. Moving into Downing Street at the weekend, the Chancellor said it was a big change for our whole family, but that her husband has been unpacking most of the boxes so far. Meanwhile, Mr Streeting promised that patients will see a difference in standards in the NHS within a year. All 3 cabinet ministers know only too well the risk if they do not keep their promises. The Health Secretary admitted he's concerned about being able to stick to the targets that he set for 2025. I'm worried if we don't get things right, future generations will curse us, and that's why in opposition we did a lot of heavy lifting. A lot of serious work needs to be ready for this government. So it's going to be called Labour in Power Inside the New Government, will be broadcast on BBC One at 8 o'clock. That was on Sunday, I believe. No, it'll be Monday night at the time of this recording, guys. If you guys want to check that out. But yes, there is that huge risk. Like I said, there will be people who will be sitting in the centre. If they do not feel the change, they will swing. They could swing either way, whether it's Conservative, Reform, or they'll even switch to Lib Dems, or for those who are considered left, centre left, or extreme left, will stick to the Greens on some independent candidates because of what they're saying. And then those on the centre right or far right, if you want to call it, will obviously turn back to the Conservatives or even to Reform, or may even to extreme parties such as like the Workers' Party potentially. I don't know. It's different. If people feel that Labour are not delivering. Many people lent their votes to Labour. I still think that despite their massive seating, it is not guaranteed. You know, a lot of the Labour MPs that kept on their seats, a lot of their numbers went down. They lost. They definitely gained seats at the expense of Reform because of the split between the Conservatives and Reform as well. So that's very important to point out as well. And obviously time will tell, as it says in there, for them to deliver. And I think this is really, and the reason why I've done this video, guys, I could have covered other stories, but the reason why I've done this one is because I really think it's important to remind ourselves that we have to give them a chance to see what they can do. And I say, yeah, after 100 days, after a few years, then you can make a conscious decision. Do you feel better off? Is your life better off? Do you feel the options that are there for you? Are you feeling a sense of change than you was now? Remember how you've been feeling for the last 14 years under Conservative rule. Now see how things are going to be after a few years of a Labour government. That is the best way to judge things. Don't judge what my view is or what journalists are telling you or what politicians are telling you. Judge it by how your bank account is, how your life is, how your community, your area, your high street. That is where the judgment should be made. What you see, what you hear on the streets yourself, not what someone behind a screen will tell you. That's the best way to judge it. And yes, of course, absolutely, people have said Labour have made failings in the past in certain aspects. Not taking that away at all, absolutely. But we have to see what they do as well. At the moment, we have a system where we're stuck between Conservatives and Labour as well. Well, let's see how they do. So what do you guys think? What do you guys honestly think about Labour? Will they deliver? Will they risk a populist rise? Do you have any... If Labour do show that they have made changes that have benefited you and other people, would you consider voting for them again? If you're definitely feeling it in your pocket. Let me know where you voted at the last general election. And at the moment, are you still planning to vote that same way at the next general election? Or are you waiting to hold judgment and see how things are in a few years' time? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comments section below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.